Hey everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes you hear a word and you kind of nod along like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what that means. But deep down, not so sure.
Happens to the best of us.
Well, today we're tackling one of those words, micronutrients. I'm Brian.
That's right. And I'm Chelsea, a nutritionist. And I'm excited to break down these tiny but mighty nutrients.
Tiny but mighty, I like that.
We're doing this deep dive, by the way, specifically for the Detox Health YouTube channel.
Oh yeah?
They've got so many great videos about health and wellness, so definitely check them out for more after this.
Yeah, Detox Health is fantastic. Definitely worth a subscribe.
For sure.
And speaking of subscribing, if you love what you hear today, don't forget to share this deep dive with your friends and family. The more people we reach with this kind of info, the better, right?
Absolutely. Spread the knowledge.
Okay, so Chelsea, we're talking micronutrients. For those of us playing along at home who might be thinking, wait, isn't that just like a fancy word for vitamins and minerals? Are we right?
You got it. It is a fancy word for vitamins and minerals, but there's a reason for that distinction. You see, we need these guys in much smaller amounts than those macronutrients we always hear about.
Yeah.
Carbs, protein, and fats.
Okay, so it's all about quantity, but that doesn't mean they're not important, right?
Absolutely not. Think of your body as a super intricate machine, like a high-performance race car.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Macronutrients are the fuel that powers the engine, but micronutrients.
Yeah.
They're the tiny screws and bolts and gaskets holding everything together. Even if one tiny screw is loose, the whole engine can start to sputter.
So even though they're micro,
Mm-hmm.
they're still essential for the whole system to work properly.
Exactly. Now, within these micronutrients, we have two main groups, vitamins and minerals.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, each of those groups has its own little categories.
Okay, I'm already intrigued. Let's break it down further. What's the difference between these vitamin subgroups?
Well, you've got your fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. These guys are like the VIPs, They get to hang out in the body's luxury lounge. They get stored in our liver and fatty tissues, so we don't need them every single day.
Okay.
Then you have the water-soluble vitamins,
Uh-huh.
like vitamin C and most of the B vitamins.
Okay.
They're more like the busy bees, constantly buzzing in and out.
Right.
They dissolve in water and are quickly used or flushed out, meaning we need a steady supply from our diet.
So it's like a store and use system versus a constant replenishing system.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Now, what about the mineral side of things? How do they fit into all of this?
So minerals are a little different. They're not made by plants or animals like vitamins. They come straight from the earth, soil, and water.
Okay.
They're absorbed by plants, which is how we ultimately get them. Like vitamins, we have macrominerals, which we need in larger amounts, and trace minerals, which we need just a pinch of.
Okay, so we've got all these different micronutrients, each with their own unique personality and role to play.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is where things get really interesting, right? Can you give us some examples of these micronutrient superstars and what they actually do in our bodies?
Absolutely. Let's start with a familiar face, vitamin C. This water-soluble workhorse is famous for boosting immunity, but it's also crucial for making collagen.
Yeah.
And collagen, my friend, is what keeps your skin looking youthful and helps hold your bones, tendons, and ligaments together.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about preventing colds. It's like the glue that holds us together.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where can we get a good dose of this magical vitamin C?
Citrus fruits are your go-to. Oranges, grapefruits, lemons, they're all packed with vitamin C. But don't forget about strawberries, bell peppers, and broccoli. They're great sources, too.
I've always heard that eating a variety of colorful fruits and veggies is good for you, but I never really understood why. Is there like a connection between the color and the nutrients they contain?
That's a great question, and you're definitely onto something. The concept of eating the rainbow is all about getting a wide range of micronutrients. For instance, red and orange produce, like tomatoes and carrots, are loaded with beta-carotene, which our bodies convert into vitamin A.
Ah, so that's why carrots are good for your eyes. They're packed with vitamin A.
Exactly. Then you've got those dark leafy greens like spinach and kale. They're like little nutrient powerhouses full of folate, iron, and vitamin K. And let's not forget about the blues and purples. Blueberries and blackberries are bursting with antioxidants.
Okay, I'm starting to see the rainbow connection here. It's like nature's way of making sure we get a balanced mix of nutrients.
It really is. And speaking of balance, let's move on to another important mineral, iron. This trace mineral is vital for carrying oxygen throughout your body. Think of it like the delivery truck that brings oxygen to all your cells.
So if we're low on iron, those oxygen deliveries might start getting delayed.
Exactly. You might experience fatigue, weakness, even pale skin. That's called iron deficiency anemia, and it's actually the most common nutritional deficiency worldwide.
Wow, I had no idea it was that common. So where can we get enough iron to keep those oxygen deliveries running smoothly?
Red meat is a good source, but if you're more plant-based, lentils, beans, and tofu are excellent options. And here's a little tip. Pairing iron-rich foods with vitamin C-rich foods can help your body absorb iron more effectively.
Interesting. So like squeezing some lemon juice on your lentils or having a side of strawberries with your tofu scramble.
Exactly. It's all about teamwork when it comes to nutrients.
I'm loving this. We're talking about eating colorful foods, getting enough iron for energy, and now this teamwork aspect of nutrients. It's fascinating how these tiny compounds work together to keep us running like well-oiled machines.
hmm
Are there any other minerals that play a big role in this whole energy production process?
Oh, absolutely. We can't forget about the B vitamins. These guys are like the conductors of the energy orchestra, making sure everything runs smoothly. For example, thiamine, also known as vitamin B1, helps convert the carbohydrates we eat into usable energy.
So without enough thiamine, our bodies might not be able to access the energy from all those carbs.
That's right. A severe thiamine deficiency can lead to a condition called beriberi, which affects the nervous and cardiovascular systems. It's not very common in developed countries, thankfully, but it highlights how important these B vitamins are for our overall energy and well-being.
It's amazing how even these seemingly small deficiencies can have such a big impact on our health. Are there any other minerals with particularly interesting roles or common deficiencies we should be aware of?
Definitely. Calcium is another key player, mostly known for building strong bones and teeth, but it also plays a role in muscle function, nerve transmission, and even blood clotting.
So it's like a multitasker in the body. What are the best sources of calcium?
Dairy products are excellent sources, but if you're dairy-free, leafy greens like kale and collard greens, almonds, and fortified plant milks are good options.
Okay, so we've got vitamin C for collagen and immunity, iron for oxygen transport, B vitamins for energy production, and calcium for strong bones, and a whole lot more. It's pretty clear that we need to be paying attention to these micronutrients. It really does make you realize how much is going on behind the scenes to keep our bodies functioning properly.
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot about getting enough of these micronutrients.
Yeah.
What happens when we don't get enough? What are the consequences of nutrient deficiencies?
Well, just like a car can't run without all its parts, our bodies can't function optimally without sufficient micronutrients. The specific consequences really depend on which nutrient is lacking and the severity of the deficiency.
Right, like you mentioned earlier, iron deficiency can lead to anemia, which makes people feel tired and weak.
Yeah.
And lack of iodine can mess with thyroid function, right?
Mm.
Are there other major deficiencies we should be aware of?
Definitely. Vitamin A deficiency, for instance, is a huge problem globally, especially in developing countries.
Hmm.
It can lead to vision problems, including night blindness, and in severe cases, even permanent blindness.
Wow.
It also weakens the immune system, making people more susceptible to infections.
Wow, that's really scary.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how much we take these essential nutrients for granted. What about less severe deficiencies? Can those still affect our health, even if it's not as dramatic as blindness?
Absolutely. Even mild deficiencies can show up in sneaky ways. You might feel constantly tired, have trouble concentrating, experience skin problems like dryness or breakouts, or even notice hair loss. You might also get sick more often or take longer to recover from illnesses.
So it's not just about avoiding major diseases. These micronutrients really impact our day-to-day health and well-being. It makes you think twice about grabbing that bag of chips instead of eating the fruit, right?
Exactly. A balanced diet is the foundation of good health. We're talking about loading up on fruits and vegetables, choosing whole grains, including lean protein, and incorporating healthy fats. It's all about providing your body with the building blocks it needs to thrive.
Okay, so a balanced diet is key. But realistically, not everyone manages to eat perfectly all the time. Life gets busy, and sometimes those healthy eating goals kind of fall by the wayside. What about those times when diet alone might not be enough? Is supplementation ever a good idea?
It's a great question and one I get asked a lot. The short answer is, it depends. Whole foods should always be your primary source of micronutrients.
Why is that? Is it just about getting the nutrients in their most natural form?
It's more than that. Nature packages these nutrients in food in a way that allows our bodies to absorb and utilize them most effectively. Plus, when you're getting your nutrients from food, you're less likely to overdo it on any single nutrient. Megadoses from supplements can sometimes be harmful.
So they work together better when they're in their natural food form. kind of like how spices blend together to create a more complex flavor.
Exactly.
So, like with most things in life, balance is key. But are there ever situations where supplementation might be beneficial?
There are definitely some cases where it might be necessary. For instance, vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common, especially for people who live in areas with limited sunlight or have darker skin pigmentation. In these cases, a vitamin D supplement might be recommended by a healthcare professional.
Makes sense. I've heard that vitamin D is crucial for bone health, but it also plays a role in immune function and even mood regulation, right?
That's right. It's a truly versatile vitamin. Another case where supplementation might be considered is during pregnancy, when the body's demand for certain nutrients like folate and iron increases significantly.
So it's always best to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian to figure out if supplementation is right for you. They can look at your individual needs and recommend the appropriate dosage and type of supplement.
Absolutely. Supplementation should always be done under the guidance of a healthcare professional to ensure safety and effectiveness. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Speaking of individual needs, we mentioned earlier that there are different types of iron. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure. There's heme iron, which is found in animal products like meat, poultry, and fish. And then there's non-heme iron, which is found in plant-based foods like beans, lentils, and spinach.
And I'm guessing our bodies absorb these different types of iron differently.
You guessed it. Heme iron is more easily absorbed by the body, while non-heme iron needs a little help. That's where vitamin C comes in. It actually enhances the absorption of non-heme iron.
That's what we were talking about earlier, the teamwork aspect of nutrients.
Exactly. It all comes back to balance and synergy.
This has been so insightful. We've covered so much ground, from the basics of what micronutrients are to the importance of a balanced diet and the role of supplementation. Is there anything else about minerals we should touch on before we wrap things up?
You know, there's one more mineral I think deserves a shout out, and that's iodine. This trace mineral is essential for thyroid hormone production.
Okay.
Thyroid hormones are involved in regulating metabolism, growth, and development.
So if we're not getting enough iodine, our thyroid function could be affected.
That's right. Iodine deficiency can lead to hypothyroidism, which can cause a whole range of symptoms, including weight gain, fatigue, and even developmental delays in children.
Wow, that's pretty serious. Luckily, I think most salt these days is iodized, right? So getting enough iodine shouldn't be too difficult.
Exactly. Iodized salt has been a game changer in addressing iodine deficiency in many parts of the world, but it's still something to be mindful of, especially if you're using specialty salts that aren't iodized.
Okay, so we've got vitamin C, iron, B vitamins, calcium, vitamin D, and now iodine. It's amazing how many different players are involved in keeping our bodies running smoothly. It makes you realize that we need to be paying attention to all these micronutrients, not just the ones that get the most hype.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? It does, and, we've only just scratched the surface.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole universe of fascinating details about each of these micronutrients and how they, interact with each other.
Right.
I mean, we could do a whole deep dive just on vitamin D or iron. But for now, I think the biggest takeaway is to appreciate the power these micronutrients hold. They're not just something you hear about in a health class. They're essential for every aspect of your health and vitality.
And it all starts with, making informed choices about what we eat.
Absolutely. By focusing on whole, unprocessed foods, especially those colorful fruits and vegetables, we can provide our bodies with the building blocks they need to function optimally.
And hey, if you have concerns about your nutrient intake or think you might be deficient in something, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian.
Yeah.
They're your allies in this journey of nourishing your body from the inside out.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought to ponder. We've talked about eating the rainbow, but what about the soil those fruits and vegetables are grown in? Have you ever thought about how the health of the soil impacts the nutrient content of our food?
That's such a great point. The quality of the soil plays a huge role in the vitamins and minerals present in the plants we eat.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to consider when you're choosing where to buy your produce.
It is food for thought, literally. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of micronutrients, everyone.
And don't forget to subscribe to Detox Health's YouTube channel for more amazing insights on all things health and wellness.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.